Okay, so here's the thing. We had a little bit of video of the original process of building the frames on the ground and a little bit of video and pictures of standing stuff up. But really, once it got down to it, this ended up being a lot for us. It's 7,600 square feet under roof, I think, total. And it's a lot for us. We've had a few very consistent helpers, and a few people show up aside from them too for a day here or there, which has been very nice. And we're thankful for the people that have been here for us. But overall, we've been too overwhelmed to actually put together the videos of what we've been building, and too overwhelmed to actually record all of it. A lot of it we just start working because we've got our hands full with the building, essentially. So let me walk you around, show you what we've got, some of the stuff we've really enjoyed about Absolute Steel, some of the troubles we've had personally, and where we're at now. So here you can see where we're at now. We've got windows in. I'm still waiting on the front and back door. I ordered them in November. It is now end of August. Every time I call them, I get a different time frame as to when it's coming, and I'm starting to get really, really upset with precise iron doors. Highly not recommended. Um, if they ever do show up, it's a pretty cool design, but I'm just starting to wonder if they ever will. So, as for the steel, though, I mean, it's kind of mesmerizing from the front looking at this straight down the line. Looks kind of cool, doesn't it? It's going to look a lot cooler once it's all framed in. So let me show you that. Not once it's all framed in. It is all framed in, except the porches you see here. We've got the beams up for some of the porches, but not all of them. We don't have the roof parts that should be going from here over to the beams. We don't have those installed yet. They're actually out at the road because the original shipment was missing them. But for Absolute's credit, I will give them this. I called them up. I counted, double checked everything I had on site. Had my mother-in-law check, had my wife check. We looked through everything. We did not have all of those rafters, basically, that go from that spot out to the beams. As you can see, the beams aren't here yet. Up here, we stopped there because we basically retasked ourselves to putting up some siding. But as soon as I contacted them, they shipped them out the very next day. Uh, Absolute has been an absolute pleasure to deal with. I highly recommend Absolute Steel. This steel, the siding, my wife and I, Jen and I started here and worked our way down this wall, made it all the way down that wall, and then halfway down the back wall before we realized it was a little too much for us on the garage, at least. That's 16 foot 10 up. At the peak, it's 23 foot. So that is a lot for the two of us to be trying to put up. I hadn't even figured out how I was going to get the steel on the roof with just the two of us, especially not safely. So once we got around halfway around the back, we had a piece fold over on us. It was a pretty bad day. It was when we really kind of broke down and realized we were in over our heads. And I ended up hiring someone to do this siding, and it's been a pretty good experience for the most part. They're supposed to be finishing up here in a little bit today. We came out here yesterday and saw this enclosed, almost entirely enclosed. You see there's a little bit here to do, and then there's some trim work and kind of cut that off, but almost entirely enclosed. And that's finally something that's given us hope again when we had been pretty desperately wondering if we were ever going to get this done. You see on the house, we've only got the one wall up so far. We've still got a little bit of framing on the back wall and a tiny bit of framing on the front wall, but the sides are all framed, the roof is framed, and then we just have to frame out the porches. The porches can happen after everything's enclosed for all I care, because really, enclosing it so we can get power, so we can get water, so that we can get moved in the garage here is a it's a huge step we need to have done. You see over here we've got porches for the garage. This is where probably eventually the tractors will end up, maybe project Jeeps, wood for the wood stove, maybe even the camper or something will be parked under here, leaving the garage space in here, which, let me go show you this. It is 36 by 50 in here, and there's going to be a bit of an echo, so I'm sorry about that, but that from basically there over to there is going to be an enclosed pantry. And then up top, since it is 16-foot 10 eaves, we're going to build out storage space above that side. Over here is going to stay tall. I intend to eventually have a 2-post car lift here. But in the meantime, just having this enclosed is amazing to us. Now, all of this is getting spray foamed next week. So the radiant barrier insulation will mean that we went with that route based on Absolute's recommendation. With spray foam, if you spray it right on the steel, if you ever have to replace the steel, it becomes quite the hassle. They recommended the radiant barrier, so if we ever have to replace the steel, the spray foam is connected to the radiant barrier, not the steel. Unfortunately, the siding guys didn't, you can see there, they didn't follow that radiant all the way up like they were supposed to, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that right now. I need to get that figured out. Otherwise, this is pretty much it. I'll show you kind of some of, we got doors in, we got doors in and we got the handles installed yesterday. So this is kind of the framing here. A lot of it, shifting light, a lot of it is just screwing a bunch of stuff together. Lots of self-tapping screws. Lots of self-tapping screws. One of the vertical frames, just a single one of the vertical frames, ended up being, what did I figure out? It was something. In one day, my dad and I put in like 900 self-tapping screws. And it was 90 degrees that day, and we were miserable. But we've built lots of memories building this, and it's kind of exciting to see the progress as it's one step closer and one step closer and one step closer. Now, that said, would I ever do this again? Nah, built not bought is fun. Built not bought is kind of how I like to do Jeeps. It's going to be amazing to have our house this way. At the same time, this has been a super stressful summer. Super stressful summer. I would not want to build again. Nope. Not build myself. I mean, if it came down to paying someone else to build it, maybe, but I'd want to be hands off on that because dealing with contractors has been quite a big issue of this. And with us doing most of the work, I'm not even dealing with that many contractors. So I guess that's where I'm at right now. We have the well installed, but obviously we don't have power yet, so we don't have the well pump. We don't have the pressure tank, any of that until the room is enclosed. Septic materials are out here. I believe he's supposed to start on that this week. Power is almost to the pole. We have a power line that AEP put in for us right over here. And right over here. Sorry, struggling with that. Right over there, new power line. It is our own single phase tap. It is 4 structures long, about 800 feet. And as a lineman, I desperately wish I could have installed my own. But they did a pretty good job. I'm pretty satisfied. It's the nice placement. It goes over our driveway, stays near the driveway. So up until this point where the driveway veers around the house, up until that point, they have easy access to it. It's just basically the final pole with the transformer that they will have to have access to our backyard to get to. Beyond that, this is super solid. I mean, I cannot move a thing in here. There aren't any creaks. There aren't any noises. We've had some pretty windy days that have had some problems for us, caused some problems for us, and yet the structure is rock solid. Hope it stays that way for 100 years to come. I don't know what to expect. What I know is we chose steel because I build power lines. I see what happens to wood that's been in the ground for 50 years. All these wood pole barns where people are planting posts in the ground, I'm just not sold on it. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe this is going to be better. Maybe this is going to be worse. But this is what we want. This wall over here is eventually going to be bookshelves, floor to almost ceiling. Jen's pretty excited about that. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm also kind of terrified about that because I plan on building all that stuff, and I'm not a great woodworker. I guess I'm going to have to hone my skills. But all that said, we bought this little electric lift. I've got a scissor lift rented, but we also bought this one, which turned out to be 120 only, so it has to run off a generator. And my little generator does not have the guts to push it, so we borrowed my dad's generator. But otherwise, it's been pretty good. It's quick. It's super quick, and it's actually more stable than the scissor lift is. So I don't know. I like it. Otherwise, if you have any questions, guys, pretty much that's going to be enclosed here, hopefully today, fully with trim and everything. And I'm super stoked. Super stoked. So beyond that, I think today we might start working on this wall because I don't want to be working on that wall while there are guys up on the roof that might drop something on us or fall on us or whatever. You see, there's one row of girts across there, whereas up here I've got a double row of girts and the porch hangers are sticking off. But then I've also got a piece that goes, or well, a bunch of pieces, but basically a row that goes in line with the trusses, the roof trusses. So we still have to do that on the front, and then the front is done. Mostly I want the siding on the back before we ever mess with the front, though, because over in this corner is our utility room and our external bathroom. That bathroom will be only externally accessible, so that if I'm out in the shop, I can walk into the bathroom, use the bathroom without having to come all the way into the house. Or if someone's outside, Drew's outside playing, he gets all muddy, he's got somewhere to go in and take a shower or whatever before coming in the house, whatever, you know. And all the utilities will be in that room, though. And so we need to get that room built out, sheltered from the weather before we can have power, before we can have water, before we can have sewer, any of that. That said, I'm out here. I'm going to post this, and we're going to get to work. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'm sorry we don't have a lot of videos of the build process. Once it's inside and we're enclosed and framing out walls and stuff, maybe we'll be able to show a little more. Who knows? Maybe we'll still be overwhelmed with the build process. As for what I've got so far, it is a lot for just a couple at home to do. It is a lot even for a small community of friends to join us with. It's been a huge process. But again, this is not your typical barndo build. I mean, the porches, the addition of the porches and what that's meant in having to cut out little pieces of the siding, the 17-foot walls on the garage. There's a lot here that if you were to do it smaller, this kit is super do it yourself handy. If you know how to use an impact drill or driver, you can build this. If you know how to read prints, you know, maybe you might have to figure that out a little bit, but they also have a number, and I haven't really used the hotline very much, but they also have a number where you can call and ask questions. So if you're not understanding the print or whatnot, their engineers will help you out. Beyond that, I guess I just want to thank you guys for watching and coming along, and again, apologize that we haven't had more of this build process. Part of the reason I'm doing this video is because with that garage enclosed, Jen's truck is overdue for an oil change. I might have my first Jeep work done in this garage here soon, because my garage at home isn't really super accessible. Kind of excited for the space I have here to work on the Jeep. Thanks for watching, y'all. The Lord bless you and keep you. See ya.